It started as a moment of stillness, one I thought would pass. But there I was, trapped at the bathroom sink, staring at my reflection like it held all the answers I needed, and all the ones I feared. The air felt heavy, and my thoughts raced faster than my heart. How did it come to this? How did I become the woman who couldn't face the choices she'd made, even in the privacy of her own home? The story isn't simple. It's not clean or easy to understand, not even for me. But if you'll listen, maybe you'll see how life twists and turns in ways we never expect. Maybe you'll see how desperation can make you someone you barely recognize. It began with David, my husband, the man I once saw as my rock, my everything. We were happy once, or at least I thought we were. But life has a way of eroding even the strongest foundations, and somewhere along the way, we'd lost each other. It was subtle at first, missed conversations, lingering silences, but soon it became a chasm too wide to bridge. The sink became my refuge. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? A bathroom sink. But it was the only place where I could think without interruption, where the hum of the faucet masked the chaos in my mind. It was there that I first noticed the cracks in my reflection, the way my eyes seemed to dim a little more each day. And then there was him, Andrew, the man who seemed to step out of nowhere and into the void David had left behind. He wasn't extraordinary in the traditional sense, but he had a way of making you feel seen, like you were the only person in the room. At first, it was innocent, a smile, a shared joke. But innocence has a way of unraveling when you're not paying attention. Andrew worked with me, and our paths crossed daily. He had this energy, this magnetism, that was impossible to ignore. I'd catch myself looking forward to our interactions, to the way he made me laugh, or the way he'd brush his hand against mine, just for a second too long. I told myself it was harmless, that it meant nothing, but deep down I knew better. The night it all began, I'd had an argument with David. One of those fights that's more about the things you don't say than the things you do. I'd stormed off, needing air, needing space. And somehow I ended up at Andrew's door. I'd told myself I was there as a friend, that I just needed someone to talk to. But the second he opened the door, I knew I was lying to myself. He invited me in, his concern genuine, his presence intoxicating. We talked for hours, about everything and nothing. And then, somewhere in the silence between words, it happened. A kiss. A simple, fleeting moment that felt like the most dangerous thing I'd ever done. I should have stopped it, should have walked away. But I didn't. That kiss was the beginning of a storm I couldn't control. It wasn't just about Andrew. It was about feeling alive again, about escaping the suffocating weight of my marriage. We met in secret, stealing moments whenever we could. Each encounter felt like a lifeline, pulling me further from the reality I didn't want to face. But secrets have a way of unraveling, and ours was no exception. David wasn't blind. He saw the changes in me, the way I'd light up at a message or come home later than usual. He confronted me one night, his voice raw with anger and hurt. "Are you seeing someone else?" he demanded. I froze, caught between guilt and defiance. I wanted to deny it, to tell him he was imagining things, but the truth was written all over my face. I don't know, I whispered, the words barely escaping my lips. It wasn't a lie, not entirely. I didn't know what I was doing, or why. David's reaction was a mix of devastation and fury. He didn't yell or scream, he just looked at me, his eyes filled with a pain I'd never seen before. "If you're not happy, just say it. Don't do this." I wanted to tell him I was sorry, that I'd made a mistake, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, I found myself back at the bathroom sink, staring at my reflection, wondering who I'd become. The next few weeks were a blur. David and I barely spoke, the silence between us heavier than any argument. And Andrew became my escape. But even that started to feel hollow. The excitement, the thrill, it wasn't enough to drown out the guilt. One night, as I stood at the sink, the weight of my choices pressing down on me, I realized I couldn't keep going like this. I was trapped, not by David or Andrew, but by myself. I'd let my pain and loneliness consume me, and now I had to face the consequences. I wish I could say I found a way out, that I made the right choice. But the truth is, I'm still standing here, staring at my reflection, waiting for answers that may never come.